What?
I said your kid was having a hard time getting put down.
Still is.
Still is. Hmm. Well, I know, what a terror of a child you were, so it's just payback for you.
Don't laugh at that.
You're welcome, Mike.
Okay, let's do this because it's 9:30 and I want to go to bed.
All right. Welcome to Words Are Hard, a writing and editing podcast. I'm your host, Ramsey, the extrovert in charge of keeping the conversation flowing.
And I'm your other host, Rachel, editor, indie author, and English teacher, an annoyed mother.
And today's episode is sponsored again by DD Photography. If you have not checked out her page yet, what are you waiting for? Get on it. Go look her up. She is on Facebook for DD Photography. Send her an email, ddphotography, or no, Dawn Dunbar at Dawn Dunbar 40 at gmail.com. There we go. Check out her website, Dawn Dunbar. Shoot, is it photography? Dawn Dunbar. I don't have my notes in front of me.
You're the worst.
Oh, I am.
This is the seventh week.
It is DawnDunbarPhotography.com. Okay, check it out. DAWNDUNBAR photography.com. Specializes in family and senior photos. Like I've been saying, she takes excellent photos of cars. So if you got a classic car that you would like a photo taken of, I'm sure she can hook you up with that. Operates within a 50-mile radius of north central Wisconsin, the Merrill area. But again, just hit her up. I know she's gone down to the Dells to take photos of cars before. Well, that was for an entire car show, but yeah. So Dawn Dunbar, again, thank you very much, Dawn. I consider you and Tim great friends. So it's been great to have you guys be a part of this and helping us get this going, get it off the ground. So
Yeah, we appreciate it.
yeah,
I don't know you as well, but I think you're cool.
yeah, they're good people. Okay. So with that being said, thanks again, Dawn. Our episode today is about theme.
Yeah, this is like the most English teacher topic that we could possibly talk about.
Great. So I do not have a drink in front of me, and I probably should have one for this because
Oh yeah, I have Irish cream in the fridge.
I do too. I was gonna save that though
Mm.
for when it snows and writing, watch some Christmas Hallmark movies.
What better way to do it than podcasting with your crabby sister who wants to go to bed?
Well, there's that.
If
All
there
right,
was
with
ever a time when you needed alcohol,
it's this one. Well, let's move on to our fun fact of the day, or our trivia for the day, I should say. Notice how I didn't put the answer in, so you can't cheat and say it ahead of time.
I don't know if it's
Which,
cheating if you put it on my document.
well, it is. Which writer holds the Guinness World Record for the most translated works?
So this writer's works has been translated the most times, or this writer
Uh,
has translated the most amount of things.
her works have been translated the most amount of times.
Shakespeare.
No.
That's the obvious answer, which means it's not that.
The answer is Agatha Christie.
Ooh,
Yes. She has
I
had
like that.
7,236 translations of her books verified by the Guinness Book of World Records.
That's cool.
Yeah, Agatha Christie,
I enjoy that.
of all people. And talk about epic themes in her books. Murder. That's all I got.
I was gonna like they're all
I
pretty.
tried. I tried to tie it in.
All right, we'll
It's
go with
there.
it.
Right. But yes, Agatha Christie. So there you go.
Neat.
Now you know. Okay. So after you get done the awning, let's move on to the main topic. Again, we're talking about themes. So go ahead and take it away.
Do you know what a theme is?
The main quote unquote lesson of the book.
Thank
See,
you.
I can read off your script too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put lesson in quotation marks because it's not necessarily the lesson. It's not like the author is trying to teach you a lesson,
Hmm.
right? It could be, and sometimes it might be a moral or something that the author actually wants you to learn, but it doesn't have to be. This is my
So
taking off my English teacher hat. You don't have
Hmm.
to learn a lesson from everything you read.
So these are different than themes are different than genres,
Oh yeah,
right?
they're
So
not at all the
you're
same
not
thing.
going to have a horror theme to a book.
No.
It's a horror genre.
No, when we're
Okay.
talking themes in literature, we're
Hmm.
talking about like the main point of the book. Why did the author write this?
Okay. And this is different than what we talked about the other day, with that being, what did we talk about the other day?
I don't know what you're referring to. Normally I
One of
can jump
the
on your train of thought, but I don't.
an episode we just did.
We did style guides and
No,
use
it's
of
like
editing.
the feel,
Oh, mood,
mood, theme and
mood
mood
and
are different
tone.
too. Mood, tone, that's it, tone.
Tone,
So tone and theme are different also.
yes, totally different things.
Okay.
Not even a little bit the same thing.
Okay. See, listeners, this is why I'm here to ask the stupid questions for you.
He'll
That's
take
why
that hit
I'm
for
here.
you.
Yes. Okay.
Basically, the theme is a recurring idea that the author wants you to think about.
Hmm.
Okay, it's going to keep coming up in the story. It's not necessarily, like I said, it might be a lesson, but it's not necessarily that pointed. It might just be a question,
Hmm.
but it's something that the author is exploring through the characters, through the plot, through the mood and the tone. All of those things are tools to get at the theme. So I have this quote from Lisa Crone. She wrote Wired for Story, and she says, theme is what your story says about human nature.
So what does that mean?
So basically, it's introducing a question, it's introducing a thought that the author wants the reader to think about. Not necessarily to answer, although
Okay.
sometimes it might have an answer. And I'll give some examples of this, and that might help a little bit.
So it's a little more on the lines of like subliminal messaging, or is it
It
more overt
can
than that?
be. It depends. It depends.
Oh. Drink.
Depends on the story. Some of them are a little more overt. You tend to have, like in children's literature,
Hmm.
tends to be a little bit more pointed. In
Yeah.
capital L literature, like literary works, maybe this is a little bit more subtle, and
Okay.
anything in between. From a writer's standpoint,
Hmm.
because this is totally different when you're analyzing theme, when you're reading it
Versus creating it.
versus creating it. So we're going to
That
focus on
seems
actually creating it.
that seems hard.
It can be.
Hmm.
It's one of those things that's a little bit ambiguous, and it can be hard to define and to kind of wrap your head around it. Once you get it, you're like, "Oh my gosh, of course, that's super obvious."
Hmm.
But it can be hard to get to that point.
Okay.
So, the first thing I would encourage you to do is read a lot.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Writers, you should
Yeah.
be reading. You should be
I
consuming
mean, I
media.
that goes hand in hand. I feel like if find me a writer that doesn't also read.
You'd be surprised. But yes, and reading, yes, but also consuming stories, which could be in the form of movies or TV shows or video games or poetry or music.
Hmm.
Stories, they help you internalize these kinds of things.
Okay.
Once you've done that, or you're going to keep doing that, just keep doing that. Once you've had a few, you've read a few really good stories and you're like, all right, okay, I can start to apply this.
When you said once you've had a few, I was not thinking stories.
Stories. Once you've had a few
Once you've had
stories,
a few stories. Okay.
I'm going to skip my first bullet point and move on. Couple of things that I
Okay.
want you to not do when you're trying to work theme into your story. This one, the very, very first one, don't stress about it in the first draft.
Okay. That's a
Okay.
good that's good. I like that.
Yeah, in your first draft, even maybe your second and third draft, depending on how many drafts you go through and how many revisions you do, a lot of times the themes will develop naturally as you work through the story. So you don't
Hmm.
have to have a perfectly fleshed out, I know exactly what I'm doing with the major themes of this story. You don't have to have that figured out before you get started. It's okay to let it develop organically as you go.
Okay.
And the more you write, the more easily that's going to happen.
Sure. Okay. So don't stress about it in the first draft.
Yep.
Get your story, get it done, get it on paper, finish the book, And then worry about it in the revisions.
Yep, revisions is where the
Okay.
magic happens.
Okay. So what's your second bullet point?
Don't worry about making your theme unique or universal. Don't go too big with it.
What do you mean?
Meaning, a lot of people will try to make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. Your theme does
Okay.
not have to be an earth-shattering realization that nobody has ever come to before.
Because like we've talked about the other day with Tolkien's crockpot of story or whatever it is.
Cauldron, cauldron,
Yep, that's it, Cauldron.
not his crockpot.
Well, it's the Midwest. It's Tolkien's crockpot of stories.
Whew,
Yeah, everything's been done.
everything's been done. And if you get to the point where you start thinking it's not worth doing unless it's big and important and capital L literature,
Hmm.
and then you never do it because you're waiting for it to be perfect, and it's not going to be perfect. And it shouldn't be perfect because art isn't perfect.
No, no,
What
not at
you
all.
need to do, instead of making it big and important and huge, make it small, make it personal. You have your own unique ideas and opinions on things.
Hmm.
Just explore that.
Okay. I like that. Add to the crock pot and keep going.
Add to the crock pot, keep going. Some of it is going to
We
turn out
should make
great.
that into a shirt.
Add it to the crock pot.
Add it to the crock pot. Words are hard.
Stone soup. Some of
Okay.
it's going to be great. Some of it's going to be awesome. Some of it's going to not,
Not.
and that's okay.
And that's okay. Okay, so don't worry about making it unique or universal.
Right. It will be
Okay.
unique just because you're writing it. You don't have to stress about that.
Okay. And this next one I kind of like.
Yeah. Don't preach to the reader. If you
Yeah,
want
don't.
them to learn a particular lesson,
Hmm.
show it happening in the story. Don't talk directly to them. Trust that the reader can handle complex ideas and think through them on their own. You don't have to spell everything out for them.
Okay. So you don't need to hold their hand.
Right.
Okay. I
Now,
like that.
again, this is a little bit more nuanced if you're writing children's lit,
Then you do need to hold their hand.
then it is going to be a little bit
Right.
more
But
to the
that's
point.
that's the style.
Right. But if you're
Right.
writing to even middle grade, young
Young
adult,
adult. Yeah.
like they can understand a lot more
It's
than you think they do.
honestly, they can get some pretty complex stuff down sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
And
yeah, and
it's,
some of them are much further advanced than
yeah.
than even me. It's not saying much.
So those are the things I would like you to not do.
Okay,
Um,
don't stress, don't worry, don't preach.
yep.
Okay.
So what you do want to do
Okay.
when you're writing your theme, think about, uh, let's just use a theme as an example, a common theme, good versus evil.
Sure.
Okay. And we're going to take that a step farther and we're going to make it, because that's a really big concept, which can be difficult. So we're going to narrow it in on, for my story specifically, I'm going to say not just good versus evil, but
Hmm.
small, kind acts can overcome big evil.
Small.
Small, kind,
Oh, I missed the S at the beginning of that. Small
small,
kind
kind
acts.
acts
Okay.
can
Can overcome.
overcome big evil.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
that's our
that's
theme.
the theme that I'm going to work with.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Yep.
Trying to tackle that all at once is not going to work.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you're going to take little pieces of it and you're going to weave it throughout the story. You're going to keep coming back to it. You're going to keep hinting at it. Again, you don't need to come out and say it.
Sure. You're gonna keep hinting at how small your main character is, how maybe
Yes, you're
weak
going to
they
use it in
are,
your
how
descriptions. Mhm.
how incompetent necessarily. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, but yeah, how small they are.
Yep.
And then later when Big Bad comes out, you're gonna overindulge how big bad he is.
Hmm.
And that's gonna help set that theme between them,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Ooh, nailed it.
Yep. You're on the right track.
All right.
So you're going to work
God,
that
I'm
into the
doing good.
character arc.
Okay.
You're going to work that into the plot. You're going to work it into the descriptions, the world building. You're going to keep cycling back on that idea. Again, not overtly
Hmm.
necessarily, but the words that you choose, the tone that you take, if you weave that idea throughout the whole story, when it comes together at the end, it almost does feel subliminal,
Hmm.
and the reader will will have more of that because you've been giving it to them in little pieces
Mhm.
throughout instead of just hitting them over the head with it at the end.
I mean, the best thing I can come up with, one of the only things I specifically can come an example of this is just Lord of the Rings. I mean, how little Frodo is compared to how gigantic Mount Doom is, or Sauron, or
Uh,
all that.
yep, some of it is a little bit more pointed than others, but
Yep. Take a
yeah,
drink, by the way, Talking Podcast.
yep. So yeah,
Okay.
that's step one or a step, I guess.
Okay, so weave the elements through the character and the plot.
Yep. Speaking of character, your main character should embody your theme.
Okay.
Okay, so again, Frodo literally being small.
Oh, sure.
There you go. Your main character is going to learn the lesson of your theme or not, depending on how you want to do their arc. If you're doing a negative character arc, then maybe the point is that the reader learns the lesson because the
A
character
little.
doesn't,
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
and that's totally fine.
Hmm.
Your conflict is going to showcase this theme. If it's good and evil and small acts of kindness overcoming greater evil, that's what the conflict is going to center around.
Hmm.
Okay, you can also create a symbol to represent your theme. Every
Okay.
time that item or character or phrase or song or whatever, anytime that comes up in the story, that's your tie into the theme. So again, in Lord of the Rings, that would be the ring.
Drink.
Yep. Lord of the Flies is another classic symbol theme. You have the conch
Yeah.
that's representing the rules of
Yeah.
society.
Power and yeah.
No, it's not representing power.
Oh,
It's representing society. You've read that one.
cut that out, please.
You've read that, right?
Well, I thought the reason I was going power is because I don't think in the book like you couldn't talk unless you were holding the conch.
Right, but it wasn't power, it was rules.
Oh, I suppose.
It was humanity is chaotic and horrible and terrible, and without the rules of society,
Hmm.
this
Everything
is what
falls apart.
happens.
Okay. All right.
Which
So not power.
super quick. Here's my fun fact because I hate
Okay.
that book.
Yeah, I didn't like it much either, but
No,
anyways, go ahead.
the author was a teacher at a boarding school, a boys' boarding school in England, and he wrote
Okay.
it specifically because his students were horrible, and he was like, if they all were on a deserted island, this is what would happen. He said specifically, this the story would not work if there were girls involved. It would only be little boys. This is what they would do.
Well,
And as a teacher of small children, I
you
do not
can.
disagree.
All right. All right. I like that. Okay. So weave the elements in, create a character who embodies the stuff, and create a symbol to represent your theme.
Right. And there's obviously a lot more to this. This is a really big
Sure.
topic that we're trying
Tip
to
of the
boil
iceberg.
down. Yep. But again, once you grasp what a theme
Hmm.
is, once you start picking up on it in the stories that you consume, it's easier to work into your own work.
Sure. Okay. So let's circle this back to the top of your list here. What is MIT?
Oh, MIT stands for most important thing.
Okay.
So when you're trying to figure out when you're stuck with, what even is my theme? How do I work that through the story?
Hmm.
Boil your story down to what is the most important thing? What are you trying to say? What is
Kind of
the
what's the,
point of your story?
yeah. Okay.
And that will
That's
help
it.
you that'll help you
Okay.
figure out and develop the theme.
Oh, okay. So what's the point? And then once you have figured out the point, don't stress, don't worry, don't preach. And then when you have done your two tree edits, weave the elements of the theme through, create a character who embodies your theme, and help create a symbol to help represent your theme.
Yep.
That's kind of your spiel on this, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I like that. So if you guys have any other questions about themes, feel free to reach out. I cannot answer anything for you, but Rachel can. She is a wealth of knowledge that is excellent to talk with, talk
Thanks.
at. You're
Talk.
welcome. Um, yeah, don't ask me. I won't know. But I know someone who knows. So,
You can ask Ramsey to get a hold of me for you, and he will.
Yeah. Yeah. But with that, let's move on to our word of the day.
I've been going through my annual Westerns
Hmm.
rewatch and reread, so I picked a Western word today.
Okay.
Bushwhacker.
You really need to pronounce the H on that.
Bushwhacker. Yeah.
Whacker.
No.
Bushwhacker. Oh
No.
yeah. It's got to be a bushwhacker.
No.
All right. What's a bushwhacker?
Originally, a bushwhacker meant a woodsman or
Hmm.
someone who is accustomed to life in the bush.
Hmm.
Literally, one who beats the bushes.
I like that.
From Dutch, Boswachter, forest keeper.
Okay. I like that.
Yep. Um, However, after the Civil War or during the Civil War, Northern troops started to refer to Confederate irregulars
Okay.
as bushwhackers when they were doing their guerrilla fighting.
Okay. I like it.
That's my Western tie-in.
I mean, how is none of that was Western? It was Dutch in the Civil War. How is that Western?
Oh, no. Well, after the Civil War, then people who would like ambush you or like dry gulch you, they were bushwhackers, which
Okay,
happens in
so
every other Louis L'Amour book. So that was my tie-in.
your highwaymen were bushwhackers.
Yeah, if they were
Okay,
ambushing you.
sure. Okay. I like this just because it's very close to bushcraft, which is something I'm passionate about.
Sure.
One accustomed to life in the bush. The
Yeah.
original meaning,
Yeah.
a tamer of the bush
Hmm.
or of the woods. I really like that.
Yeah.
So I would potentially identify myself as a bushwhacker.
Don't do that because people are going to think that you're
A Dutch, what was it? Boschwacker?
right, but that's not the Wachter. You got the
Wachter.
T in there. But that's not the current understanding of that word. Current
You want to
understanding,
bring back
either
original meanings of things all the time, so why can't
you're a
I?
Confederate irregular or you're, trying to kill people on the road,
Well,
steal their horses.
certain societal breakdowns happen. We might be resorted to bushwhacking again.
I'm rereading Skyliners,
Okay.
which is one of the Sackett ones, but like not the main Sackets. It's Galloway
Hmm.
and Flagon. And I really like
Is
it.
that
That's it.
it? Well, here I'm watching The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead.
No, watch
There.
Leverage.
No. Anywho, with that, if you enjoyed the show today, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Share with your friends or someone who needs to learn some grammar. You can also sign up for Rachel's editing newsletter at rosedeanediting.com. That's ROSEDENE editing.com to get your free 7 steps to line editing checklist.
I'm also
Man, you want to try that one again?
I'm so tired. I'm also
All right, here we
offering
go. We're
I'm
professionals. Keep
shut
going.
up. I'm also offering a free first page edit through my line edits in action series. Just sign up on my website at
rosedeanediting.com, ROSEDENE editing.com.
and you'll be entered into a weekly drawing for a free line edit of your opening page. If you have a Western, send it to me, please.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'd like to see that too. Anyways, if you no, we're already way past that. Join us next week as we dive into literary devices.
Keeping up with the English teacher themes.
Yeah, not to be confused with explosive devices. Not the same thing. Although some of these may blow your mind whole.
No, no.
No, no, okay. But bumped. Remember, words are hard.
We're here to help.